Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the only male cruise. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, replay gang, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work. I'm sorry, y'all. My mic was muted. Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruise. So my mic was muted. Two motions came down last night, and I'm just going to talk about one of them right now, and that's the situation with Tasha K, which, that news broke, I want to say 2 years ago, where Tasha K had went on YouTube and that's a flattering picture. She went on YouTube and pretty much tried to say that she had evidence and this and that about Kelz and whatnot. So now it's come up in the motions, and Kel's attorney, they had the telephonic hearing last week or 2 weeks ago. And of course, her motion to have everything just put on hold for a minute so she could get with the, acclimated to the new evidence. The judge denied that. And so she's just got to get down with the get down at this point. And so in the motion that she dropped last night, she brought up this situation about a blogger having information and how that happened and all that. So what I'm going to do, let me shout out the folks in the chat, because I do want to tell y'all, thank you for pulling up. I sure do appreciate y'all. Shout out to Phyllis Gibson. Shout out to In Living Color TV, Alexis Monet. Thanks for pulling up. Appreciate y'all. Love and Life. Baby Shay, of course, all the time, baby. Lysandra Gilliard, girl, we all we got. So y'all be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, replay gang. You know what time it is. Leave a comment, because I certainly want to hear from you. Bree Edwards, Kimberly Black. Thanks y'all for pulling up. Y'all know I appreciate y'all. So anyway, I'm going to kind of refresh everybody's memory regarding the incident and how it ended up becoming news. And then let's see what Bongine is talking about in her motion. So this was an article that was presented. Actually, they just wrote about it in September 2001. So R&B superstar R. Kelly has been locked up in Chicago's federal jail. That was before his New York trial. And when he was in jail, a popular YouTuber, Tasha K, touted that she had the inside scoop on R. Kelly's relationship with the two girlfriends that were living in the high-rise Trump Tower apartments. Y'all know them as Jane Doe and Jocelyn Savage. So, and y'all probably saw the video where Tasha K was talking about, I got the tea. So apparently, wanting to keep the women in his camp, Kelly alleged Kelly allegedly had a friend bring $1,500 in cash to the Trump Tower residence to help pay their bills. And of course, Tasha K was on YouTube, according to this article. I'm going to say allegedly, um, but I saw the video talking about exclusive. Um, that she's got the tea. So one of the girls, Jocelyn Savage, was angry that she'd been kept off of Kelly's visitors list. And this was according to Tasha K's report. And then the other girl, Azriel Clary, Jane Doe number 5, had already left the apartment and she didn't come back. So at that point, that's when she turned Fed's witness, if you will, and that put Kelly in a jam. So in this article, it's saying, well, how did Tasha K know all this? And of course, Tasha K said, yeah, there's a phone tap somewhere, and I'm not going to tell you where it's at. She says, I'm not going to tell you where I got the information from, but just listen. Listen to me. I got the damn information, all right? So federal investigators allegedly know exactly how Tasha K got that information, how she was plugged in, because Tasha K said, I got the plug. And so then a federal search warrant that somehow became unsealed shows that agents seized a laptop from the U.S. Bureau of Prisons. The officer was suspected of illegally accessing Kelly's phone record. His recorded phone calls, emails, visitor logs, and other restricted information while he was in the Chicago Correctional Center. So the female officer, who at the time worked as a disciplinary hearing officer at a federal prison in Wisconsin, had accessed Kelly's records more than 150 times in a 6 months time span. And it's just like in the medical field, you might work in that hospital, and working in that hospital gives you access to everybody's medical records for the most part. But if you don't have a reason to be accessing those records, you're violating HIPAA. And this essentially, is what this person did. Not HIPAA, but she violated Kelly's privacy, allegedly. So the female officer, who at the time worked as a disciplinary hearing officer at the federal prison in Wisconsin, accessed Kelly's records more than 150 times in a 6 months period in 2019, even though she wasn't assigned to the Chicago MCC. So she had no official reason to even be looking at Kelz records. So the officer, identified only as Officer A, also emailed herself a 12-page scan of Kelz jail records. And the officer retired in December 2019, according to an affidavit, and she has not been charged. So Kelly is identified in the warrant only as inmate A, but he's described as a nationally recognized celebrity whose criminal case received media attention. So that wasn't hard to figure out who that was. But according to the warrant, the warden of Chicago's MCC first reported to the Bureau of Prisons the Internal Affairs that on November 22nd, 2019, that Tasha K had revealed sensitive law enforcement information regarding the celebrity identified as Kelly, including information that would have been known to that BOP employee who monitored inmate A's telephone calls or accessed the records or the recordings of the calls. The warrant mentions 3 specific videos by Tasha K that are all still publicly viewable on YouTube. And according to, one of them is exclusive, and let Sean Davy Way tell it. It takes him to do the imitation of her voice. But, Tasha K has always been, was always known for saying exclusive. I got the exclusive. But anyway, one of the titles of the video is New R. Kelly Enablers Revealed. And in that video, she scrolls down through the cell phone and is reading a summary of a recent call between Kelly and Savage. She says, I got some explosive information. And she goes, so Rob called Jocelyn and she was crying hysterically. She said that Azriel was leaving the Trump Tower. She was not coming back. But ultimately what happened is the FBI saw a IG post of Tasha K's. And in that IG post, um, the time that they could see, let me see here, if let me scroll it down real quick. What they were able to see from her IG post as far as the time of that phone call was the same time that individual A had accessed Kel's records. So that made it easy for them to, put everything, bring everything into, align everything, put it that way. So that's problematic. And so now the question is, are they going to call, are they going to require that Tasha K get in here and be held accountable? Are they going to require that she testify as to how she got this information? And did she pay for that information? Um, she need to answer some questions. So the thing is, though, in Bonjean's motion that she had submitted last night, she addresses the fact that, and I think that this is part of what she's talking about, because in that phone call hearing, the telephonic hearing, Bonjean said, look, we got 10 new discs of information, and I got to go through all of this. So I don't know if this new motion is in response to the 10 new discs, or if this was something she had planned to get to anyway. But either way, in this motion, Bonjean is saying that she's demanding that the court order the United States Attorney's Office to produce materials prepared in connection with the government's alleged investigation into the Bureau of Prison. The officers who accessed and stole defendants' confidential prison records and communications, including attorney-client communications. And she also stipulates that communications that were subsequently shared, sold to a blogger who sold that information to unknown members or to unknown numbers of government witnesses. So all this was done before the New York trial went into effect. So did this in any way have any impact on Kel's guilty verdict after all? Let me check some of these comments, y'all. And I don't like to keep a long live because usually, people are like, oh, girl, just get to the point. So we're getting there. Just stand fast, y'all. Hold on. Yeah, Baby Shay says she bragged hard about that. She really did. She certainly did. And, and the thing about it is it's cute. It's cute while it's going on, but you really have affected somebody's life. And, and that's what's problematic to me. Hold on a minute. Let me see here. And Living Color said, Tasha K loves putting herself, ooh. Hold on, y'all. Living Color TV. Alexis Monet, don't do it, girl. Every time I go live, you make me laugh. You said Tasha loves putting herself in some cases and lawsuits. You would think she would have learned by now. Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Shout out to Shrink and Sharon. Thanks for pulling up. Let's see here, y'all. Hold on with me. All right. And Carla McWilliams, thanks, y'all. So let me shout out to everybody in the chat. So my question about all of this is, okay, yeah, Tasha K, you're wrong for what you're doing here, allegedly. But my question is, why is the government okay with this? They don't want to, in the telephonic hearing, the government was like, no, we don't want to adjourn nothing. We want to go to court. We want it right now. Plus, we just dropped off 10 new discs worth of material. And I think one of the discs had like over 57,000 pages of documents. But they're in such a rush to get this case underway. Why? So, where are the results of the investigation? Did you investigate this BOP person that accessed these files and possibly sold evidence and gave evidence to a federal informant? So Bonjean is also saying defendant has a good faith basis to believe that the stolen information was also provided to a government informant who may have shared said information with government witnesses at the behest of the government. Meaning, y'all, meaning the government, y'all asked them to give you these details. So was that the setup? It says, since such information developed during the investigation might constitute impeachment evidence, the government should produce it. And, and this brings another question for all the people out here who feel like, Kelz is guilty, put him in jail. He needs to stay in jail. He wrong. He blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't care about a fair trial? That's what I want to know. Y'all don't care about a fair trial? Because there are some people out here right now, just local people, regular, non-famous people. Shout out to Auntie Nisi, who, have had loved ones murdered and assaulted. And they're asking the state, hey, when are you going to take this to trial? When are you going to do all this? And they get the response that, well, we don't have enough evidence, so we don't want to bring this thing to trial. We don't want to do that yet. But in this case, against R. Kelly, they can't wait to hurry up and get it. And this evidence appears to be tainted. There's been so much interference in his case, and the government doesn't seem to have a standard. So the other question I have is, did the person who accessed Kelz records, who was in Wisconsin, but accessed Kelz records in Illinois, that is somehow affiliated or connected to having given that information to Tasha K, who subsequently put it in a video, more than one, did they cut a deal with that person? Because everybody's getting a deal except for Kelz. So what is the pursuit? Does everybody get to break the law just so y'all can jail Kelz? Or do y'all really want justice? That's my question. So Bonjean further goes on to say, while defendant was detained in Chicago MCC between July 15th of 19 and January 8th of 2020, access logs show that 60 Bureau of Prison employees accessed Kelz confidential records. One such BOP employee accessed defendant's records 153 times, even though that employee was not assigned to Chicago's MCC. Information from those records, including defendant's visitation list and email communications, including attorney-client communications, were provided to a YouTube blogger named, say it with me, y'all, Tasha K. Get your wine glass. It takes Sean David way to do it. Bonjean said, on information and belief, Tasha K shared those stolen communications with government witnesses, with an alleged government informant who was under federal indictment at the time the information was stolen. Now, all I can say is, how you do that, though? Why would you do that? Why would you get that deep involved? And you didn't have, just so that and I'm asking, I'm not alleging, I'm just asking the question. Did you do that for clicks and views? So you got this man's life in whole hell of jeopardy for clicks and views? That's ridiculous. It's unethical. So the United States Attorney's Office commenced an investigation into the incident that resulted in defendants' communications being stolen and shared with untold individuals. Apparently, the U.S. Attorney's Office sought a search warrant for the computer used by the BOP employee. It says the application and affidavit in search of the search warrant has been sealed and is not available for public review. Defendant has never seen the search warrant application and supporting affidavit. So y'all done did all this, you let all this dirt go on, and Kelz hasn't even been able to see anything. Now, if all of this happened with Kel's prior team, who is the reason why Jennifer Bongine had to step up and get in place, then they should have been on top of this as well. But it's not surprising that Kelz didn't see this, because his prior team really didn't do Kelz any justice as far as defending him. Tiffany Only Play said, "It has become very apparent to me that no one else's crimes matter but R. Kelly's to them. How do you offer all these deals for crimes committed?" Girl, that is exactly what I'm saying. And the way Bongine has this written in her motion, it's like, did you give these people immunity, government? Did y'all give them immunity? Once they came to you and said, "Look, I got the tea. Okay, we'll give you immunity, okay? And then that way we can have evidence, and then we can really, stick it to them." So, come on now, that's not how the law is supposed to work. Damn, I don't get it. So it says the investigation doesn't seem to have resulted in any arrests, even though it seems straightforward that at least one BOP officer engaged in official misconduct by accessing unauthorized records and sharing/selling those records with third parties. It's ridiculous. Defendant has learned that his email communications, including communications with his attorneys and third parties, were shared with potential government witnesses, either in this case, the Illinois case, which is coming up August 1st, or the Eastern District, New York prosecution, which, of course, we know now that he was found guilty in that. If such information was shared with government employees by the government or its agents, aka confidential witnesses, for the purpose of influencing testimony, and or a third-party government informant used the information to influence government testimony, such evidence would constitute exculpatory material to which the defendant is entitled. And essentially meaning, if the government made a deal with anybody and it had an impact on his trial in New York or what's coming down the pike in Illinois, then Kelz has a right to know who you made a deal with regarding his attorney-client privileges, his visitation lists, everything. Shout out to Lizzie Mack. But again, the issue is, why is the government okay with this poor chain of custody as far as evidence is concerned? I mean, you talk about a rush to judgment, and then all these trumped up charges and the tainted jury, and I mean, it's just ridiculous. And Bongine says, defendant must be afforded the opportunity to discover facts that may be used to discredit government witnesses and or show bias and motive on the part of government witnesses. It is also highly suspicious that no indictment resulted from this clear act of official misconduct amongst other federal crimes. This is out of control. And so the people that the people that feel like, nah, he's a pedophile. If R. Kelly is wrong, if R. Kelly is guilty, why can't y'all prove it without all these shenanigans? Why don't the people who don't agree with R. Kelly or feel R. Kelly ought to be in jail, why is y'all standard so low? That's the part I don't get. Somebody explain that one to me. It really doesn't make any sense to me. Defendant is entitled to discover who was interviewed as part of the investigation, what information was stolen, whether it included attorney-client phone calls or communications, and whether such information was shared with prosecutors, their agents, or government witnesses. And the truth is, if those of you who think, not free R. Kelly, but F R. Kelly, if that's how y'all feel about it, y'all don't feel like is it still F R. Kelly if this stuff has been manipulated to make him look guilty? Because what you can't get past is the fact that, here's the thing, because I was thinking about this earlier today. It came out in testimony that Jane Doe number 5, aka Azriel Clary, lied about her age, period. And why I'm bringing that up is because it came out in the testimony that Kelz asked her when the police pulled up, wait a minute, how old are you? Wait a minute, you 18, right? That's in the court transcripts. And then when the police showed up, they asked for ID. Her parents were on the phone. They asked her how old she is. She said 18. So why are y'all trying to just really like throw him all up under the bus when this girl lied all in the man's face, and clearly Kelz was trying to be in compliance with the law? But the people that disagree and feel like Kelz should be under the jail, I mean, what's wrong with y'all? And again, it's not about being a fan. Look, it's not about being a fan of R. Kelly. It's the fact that the government has taken it upon themselves to just say, F it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run this case how I want this case run. And if I have to form and shape and fashion and manipulate evidence to win, that's what I'm going to do, because this is a black man and we want him under jail. This I mean, it's ridiculous. So is this one of the reasons? This is one of my questions. I'm going to get to this chat. I'm going to ask y'all. Could this be one of the reasons why the government wants this case to hurry up and move along? And this was for the case in Illinois. They're like, no, we don't want to wait. We want to hurry up and just now. Is this one of the reasons why? Because they've got all these secret deals, and as long as Bongine has time to actually get in there and investigate and overturn things, she'll find out this kind of stuff. And why wasn't that BOP employee who AKA allegedly gave up this information, accessed the records over 153 times? How come there's no charges? Or does she have immunity? And did she have immunity before she accessed the records? Or did she get immunity after she went and said, look, I committed a crime, y'all, but if you don't charge me, then I'll tell you what I found. Oh, that's a sweet ass deal for the government. So it just ain't right. Let me check the comments to see what's up. Carla McWilliams said, how would they feel if it was your son? If they do him like this, if they do him like this, our sons could be next. Absolutely. They're making up laws along the way. Absolutely loving life. It's crazy. They're covering their butts now. Yeah, that's why they want to rush all about the 50 plus life. That's why I think they want to rush, because if they can hurry up and just get him, found guilty like he is in New York, some of these charges are life sentences, y'all. And they are actually life sentences. And that's another reason what makes me question the government. Yeah, I get it. You want to put a criminal in jail, but the only criminal that y'all seem interested in putting in jail is R. Kelly. And then you're not taking it into account that the criminals are the ones that y'all have given deals to, because ain't no way that Azriel, Jane Doe number 5, Azriel Clary, why are her parents still free? When you look at what came out in court testimony. But you cut deals with everybody just so you could get to Kelz. And that's some unfair ass. Okay? That's unfair. And my other question is, this, it also shows how serious people take the law, because that BOP officer, because they said she retired. And how that's how they'll do some of these cops. They'll let them retire, and then they don't, we'll just let you retire out, but don't you ever try to come back here. Is this BOP person going to face any charges? Because that is what did Bongine call it? She said an abusive official misconduct. And y'all just gonna let that stand? So I don't get it. And then Kel's life is hanging in the balance because a YouTube blogger wanted clicks and views. And those of you who are like, no, Kelz deserves to be under the jail, y'all don't have no standard. That's just the part I don't get. So I'm not trying to sound like I'm preaching. And I'll drop the link for anybody that wants to come up and chop it up about this topic. I'm down to do it. But this just isn't right. It's just not right. Bria Edwards says, yes, this is exactly why they knew they didn't have a case. A lot of things they were done violating his rights. Absolutely. Let me see here, y'all. So if anybody wants to come up, just let me know. Let me see. Living Color said, they're trying to make an example out of him, but he's entitled by law to have a fair trial. So if there's shadiness, it needs to be exposed. Absolutely. Everyone acting like they can't see. No doubt about it. 50 plus. Yeah, family affair. It's just, like I said, it's ridiculous. And, I got another show planned about the Daryl McDavid. Actually, I heard a news reporter call him Darrell. And that's interesting. That's an interesting ass name. But, I just did a video, I think it was last week, asking, I said, is it possible he's going to turn state's witness? And in this other motion, that's exactly what Bonjean implied. She said it's probably likely that they're going to use McDarrell Davis as state's witness or as a witness against Kelz. So y'all heard it here first. The video is it's on my channel. Check it out, and I'm going to look at dropping the video maybe within the next hour, or I may just pop back up on here and go live. But y'all tell me what y'all think about it. Does anybody want to come up? Let me drop the link just in case somebody wants to come up and I haven't seen it. And y'all can let me know your thoughts on that, because I mean, it just, at this point, I just don't get why there's just such a low requirement for having credible evidence in such a popular case, for lack of a better term. Let me see here. Ida Thomas. Tasha K ass going to jail. Get it, Ida. Said Tasha K ass going to jail and will be sued by R.S. Kelly. Free Kelz. Girl, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Allegedly and hopefully. Okay. Rabbit said, it's time to put a stop to these shenanigans. It really is. Because this is just, and we're setting this precedent. We're setting this standard. And it's just, and we're making it easier and easier for the government to get away with this kind of crap. Okay, let me see here. Bria Edwards said, and Living Color said, they're trying to make an example out of him, but he's entitled by law to have a fair trial. So if there's shadiness, it needs to be exposed. Bree said, yes, this is exactly why they knew they didn't have a case. A lot of things that were done was violating his rights. In freaking deed. Lizzie Mack said, share this live, guys. Yes, please do. Loving Life said, railroad it. Let me see here, y'all. Yeah, they are. They're really attempting to cover their behind. I don't know. It's just too much. It's just way too much. It's unfair. And then you know what? And the other thing too, like on Twitter, they got they're trying to report. Zane, thanks for pulling up, girl. They're trying to say, yeah, R. Kelly has made friends with the Brooklyn bomber. And I went on Twitter and I was like, you know what? Because somebody on Twitter was like, yeah, that's the government leaking that information. And I went on there and I was like, they're just trying to taint the potential jury pool in Illinois because that trial is coming up. Now, how does that look that Kelz is cool with the man? And that doesn't even look like a proper affiliation. You know what I'm saying? And even if he did make friends with him, like somebody else said on Twitter, it's not like Kelz was like, yeah, I'll take him. He can be in my cell. Yeah, that's cool with me. I rock with that. Come on now. So it's really just doing too much. So I had the link drop. Don't look like nobody wants to come up. I'm cool with that. I just want to thank all y'all for watching, for pulling up, for commenting. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, Replay Gang. You know what time it is. Leave a comment because you know I want to hear from you. And so that's it, y'all. That is the podcast. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the only Male Cruise. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, Replay Gang, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work.